Press oh, okay. Ask you to allow
So
you to
that's
record
because
to
I'm
okay.
host right now. I'm going to make you host again. It's loading for YouTube.
Okay. Uh, all right. We coming along with it. We're coming along with it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Record to this computer. Okay. Send request. We're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is start the show by doing this. All right. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. This says you're the host now. So with that, then maybe I can do this. Okay, there you go. So now that I did that, can I, um, all right. So what I'm gonna do is, all right. All right. So the following is Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. And here we go. Ooh, okay. Okay. So what we have to do is share. Okay. And share sound. Okay. Okay. So we got that. Thank you, sis. All right. So,
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
Assalamu alaikum. This is Latifa A. Hamid, the CEO for American Muslim 360, the #1 Islamic radio station in the nation, where your intellect is respected and your voice is protected.
The views expressed by the host guests are their own and not necessarily the position of AM 360 or the parent corporation, the Community-Wide Shura Conference, CWSC Incorporated. AM 360 content is intended as a community service and is not designed to provide specific personal, medical, financial, or legal counsel or other professional advice, and no liability shall extend to the hosts or hostesses of AM 360 or CWSC. We encourage you to seek an advisor for your specific circumstance.
Community-Wide Shura Conference and American Muslim 360 invites you to promote your organization or event on the #1 Islamic radio station in the nation, where your intellect is respected and your voice protected. Affordable rates allow you to promote your event, product, or service and strengthen our national intelligentsia network. Contact corporate underwriting today at info@cwsc.us. That's info@cwsc.us, or call 910-317-0297. Again, 910-317-0297. Together we can remake the world.
So I'm going to stop for a minute just to let you know, Bismillah Ahmed Rahim, that this is a rebroadcast from 2023, Living in the Upload Life, as we continue.
What the technology winded up doing, especially I'm talking about this technology winded up separating the generations. That's what they did. So why is this important to Muslims? It's just important that Muslims understand the way that the technology worked and the way that the technology advanced from what was going on in the pioneer generation to what's going on in the social media generation. We call it the social media generation because the advancements that happened in the social media generation winded up attracting the children. Attracting the children. The children are the future. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. This show is about social media and the change in technology as it has moved forward from the pioneer generation, from radio to television to the computer to smartphones to the internet, and how that is basically affecting our life. Muslims are pretty concerned about this. The concern about it is Muslims who are looking to stabilize their life here in the American circumstance, because the whole idea of the idea of having a Muslim family, the idea of just maintaining and being protectors and maintainers as far as the men are concerned, and even as far as the women, having to go out to work jobs, or it may be that you may have a job that you've been working for the last 10, 15, 20 years, and you're pretty established with that paycheck, but then you get that paycheck and then you have to make sure that the bills are paid, and a lot of times people are not even using the United States Postal Service to pay their bills now. What they're doing is they're going online and paying their bills. And this was pointed out to me some time ago by someone who worked in the post office, and they said that they intentionally pay their bills by the post office. So that is a traditional way of paying bills. You get your bill and you put a stamp on it and put it in the mail and let the mail get it. But the faster way to get your bill paid these days, we're talking about rent, we're talking about Con Edison, or like your gas or your electricity. We're talking about your telephone bill. Is just to basically go online, go from your telephone and pay your bill, go to your computer and pay your bill. So this takes money away from the traditional ways in which bills are being paid, and this is why people say that like the post office is going down, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not really going to happen, because there's some people who really just trust the post office to get their thing done, especially, with all these scammers out here. There's a good possibility that you could get scammed online. So a lot of people continue to pay their bill by so-called snail mail, which is just a cute name that they put, but basically the post office actually delivers mail. If it's in the same city, it's next day delivery, and if it's across country, 3 days, it's 3 days out. Most of the time, that's what the situation is. But the media would basically have people to think that, the post office is this and that, and, they're not doing well, and, the mail is slow. I used to work for the post office, and I'm telling you, with all the machines and everything that they have, they can get the mail from New York to California in a day. I mean, it's just quick the way that it happens. And it's very organized. We've been doing this for a long time. So the post office, but the media has put it out there that the post office is not doing well. And again, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about social media. Where do you get your information from? Because there's a lot of information that's given in social media that's not necessarily true. And I'm giving you the post office as an example. And just to show you, what they did was done during the last administration, that this last administration put a postmaster in charge of the post office with the intent of that postmaster looking to slow the mail down. That's what he was put there to do, and he started to cancel machines out. We're gonna close down these various machines. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna close down these machines. I see you, 401-258. Just give me a moment, and I'll be right with you. We're gonna close these machines down and slow the mail down, and they did it for the intent of having the ballots, to slow down the ballots that were being mailed off by people. So, they had this thing with the ballots that was one of the tricks that was being used. So they made the post office a traditional organization that's been working for over 100 years, and now all of a sudden, and let me tell you, when you work for the post office, you have to take an oath, and the oath is you have to take the oath that the FBI takes. That anyone who works for the federal government has to take an oath. They make you raise your right hand and say that oath. And if you do something wrong as far as the post office is concerned, it's a federal crime. It's a federal crime. So I'm saying all this to say that the post office has had these things in place for a long time. And I'm just using the post office as an example. But any federal organization, because they're not only coming after the post office, they're also coming after the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and we're talking about the last administration did that, and this current administration, as far as Congress is concerned, with the whole January 6th, they're coming after the FBI. And the other part is that they're coming after the IRS. They're coming after. I haven't received my IRS check yet that I mailed out last February. No, not last April. They received it in April. I haven't received it yet because they want to cancel out the IRS from doing their job so that the big wigs that are these big corporations, so that they don't have enough people to take care of, looking at the finances, the tax returns of these people. And so, I'm sure you heard it, the lies that were put on social media that are being promoted on social media, that they want to hire 877,000 IRS workers so that they could come with guns to your house and demand that you make money, that you pay taxes. I'm not making this up. This is what was said. But they use government, especially the negative government, uses social media in order to promote these lies. And they're promoting lies against the federal government in order so that they can have an advantage. So that's one of the things that's very important, that the traditional, and that's the point that I'm making, is that the traditional values of our organizations are being ostracized, are being looked at in a negative way because there are certain groups of people that want control. So they're up trying to give our traditional organizations and our traditional government offices in a negative light, so that they could promote the negative light on social media. And then what comes from that? A January 6th. That's what comes from that. This is 401-258. I'm going to take your call right now. Assalamu alaikum, 401-258. Your microphone is open.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Sister Angela Marie from North Providence, Rhode Island. Some of that about the post office is very true. I used to work for the post office in Mount Vernon, New York, and I think it was 1983, 84. And in 1987, I worked on Main Street Post Office in Yonkers. Now, what's going on with the post office with me? Since I moved here to Rhode Island in 2002, the postal system, they tear into my mail. They take my money orders. They tear my money orders that my son sent me up, put it back in the envelope, tape it back up, and put it in a postal envelope, or they'll just tear it up and put it in my mailbox like that. They take things that I send to my son, tear open the box, especially if it has the Muslim name on it, because my sons have Muslim names, or any Muslim that I send anything. They tear it open, take the contents out of it, and then send me the empty box. And I have all these postal things. I have it in there in postal envelopes, too. They take even my cards that Muslims send me on my sons, they tear it in here, put it back in the envelope, and put a piece of tape on it, and they take my mail, give it to the office where I live for them to open it, and then they come to me and they say, oh, I didn't open it, but it has the tape on it. So I said, how can you say you didn't open it? It's got tape on it. Why do they give in my mail to you, the office, to open it, to look at? But anything Islamic literature, oh, my gosh. They tear it in all kinds of pieces and then send it back to me in plastic envelopes. And they hold, let me tell you what else they do. They hold money orders that my sister sends me from Brooklyn for months. And then after months, they'll send it to me when I can't even cash it. Muslim journals, too. You know, I just got some of my October and November's Muslim journals. They do that. They've been doing that to
Okay,
me.
let me say this.
It never happened in no other state that I lived in. Never.
Well, it does. It does happen, sis. First of all, this is what I want everybody to know. That the post office has a responsibility to send each and every piece of mail to the address that that someone mails it to. That's the responsibility of the post office. They have these machines, and when they put the mail through the machines, which can be like 10,000 pieces of mail hour or whatever. The machines, what they do is they tear open they could tear open the envelope. But the post office still has the responsibility of getting that envelope, to the customer. Now, sometimes what happens when the machine tears the envelope, what it winds up doing is the contents of the envelope comes out, but they can't, because the contents have been separated, and these machines are continuing to run. The envelope gets away from the contents, but they still have the responsibility to take it, put it in the plastic bag, and send it, to the person. It's not 100%, but most of the time, most of the mail gets to its place on time. As far as money orders are concerned, money orders never. If you get a money order from the post office, it's good forever. It's not. If somebody sends you a money order from, sister, I'm telling you, if you have a postal money order, it's good forever.
No, it won't. Not a postal money order. Not a postal money order.
Sister, postal money order is good forever. Check it out.
I know a postal money. I'm talking about a non-postal.
Okay, so a non-postal money order can't. Exactly. So a non-postal money order is not good forever, but a postal money order is good forever. Okay?
Right.
If you got a money order from 1929, you could go to the post office and cash it today.
No, but they
money.
keep my non-postal. They keep my non-postal money.
Non-postal money orders. Non-postal money orders. Non-postal money orders.
And send it to me like months and months after. They hold it.
Well, I don't think they'll hold it. Listen, the post office can't afford to hold any mail. Every day, if there's a piece of mail on the floor, they take that mail off the floor and have to send it. You can't. I'm telling them, working in a postal facility, you cannot have a piece of mail on the floor because that mail has to be picked up and it has to go. It has to be put in the system. That's the way the post office operates. Yes,
like a Brother Kareem. But listen, when that mail gets into those truck drivers, they truck. They don't know what the postal workers do with anybody's mail. Not unless some cameras inside their truck or when they come inside my building can see them tear my mail up or take my mail to the drivers tear it up.
Well, I can't speak on what's going on as far as your postal carrier.
Everywhere I live here in Rhode Island.
Well, I can't speak on what's going on as far as your postal carrier is concerned, but I will say that most postal carriers.
You know what?
I have worked with. I have. Listen, you know that post office workers get paid good money, good salaries, and if you've been working for the post office for a number of years, why would you put your whole career in it by tearing up people's mail? Now, there are some people that do it because they got mental problems. But most postal carriers do the responsible thing as far as their job is concerned. I have worked with as a carrier assistant, all right, helping carriers to get their mail prepared to go out. And if the customer has a problem with a postal carrier, they can always come to the post office and make a complaint to supervisors about their mail. They can always do that.
That's
postal
exactly
carriers
what I
don't
did.
want that kind of. They don't want that because the thing is, it puts their money and their career in jeopardy. But they
didn't do anything. That's exactly what I did. I went to the post office and put in a complaint, and they said you have to have proof. You have to have proof.
Well, that's true. Shouldn't you have proof if you go to the post office with a complaint?
That's true, but listen, let me tell you something. I know what's going on here. I know what's going on. It's a hate thing, and they probably want me to get out the building too because you don't know the horrible things they put. They put dead mice under my door, all kinds of garbage trash, like they did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I fought better. And then the landlord I tried to get care to help.
Prophet Muhammad dared
they put broken glass for me to step in. Broken glass under my door for me to step in. If I had stepped in that, my feet could have got cut off. Yeah.
Use the example of Prophet Muhammad, sis. Use the example of Prophet Muhammad. I gotta go ahead, man, and take another call. Well, but one thing I will say, as far as the Muslim Journal is concerned, that is a legitimate concern. You know why? Because this is what they do. The responsibility of the post office is to deliver first-class mail first. Mail with a stamp on it gets first priority. Express mail gets first priority. Priority mail gets first priority. You know what Muslim journals, newspapers get? Third-class mail. They're third class. So it's like, look, I get it to you when I can get it to you. And most post offices, that's what the thing is, that they have to deliver the first-class mail, the express mail, the priority mail first. And then they go to second-class mail, which is mail that might be advertisements, all right? Advertisements, that have a stamp on it. Then that mail goes, and then after that mail goes, then they do magazines and stuff like that, which is third-class mail. So a lot of times that the magazines and Unless because there's sometimes what happens with magazines, they will go to second class status. They will go second class status, so magazines will pay extra money in order to get their magazines done to the customers faster than third class mail. Okay, but Muslim Journal newspapers, it goes third class. It goes third class mail, and other newspapers, they go third class. All right, so and third, there's not even a fourth class. So, so a lot of times that what the sister said is true about the Muslim Journal newspaper. That's what winds up happening about that. But these are this is the post office is still a traditional organization, and people still go to their mailbox on a daily basis. Why? Looking for their mail, because people just like receiving mail. Let me see what I got today. I go to my mailbox and say, I hope there's some money in it. That's what I go to. I hope there's some money in the mailbox, but most of the time it's bills or advertisements and things like that. That's usually in the mailbox. But my whole point is basically that the post office is a traditional service. And, there's a lot of negative stuff that's put on social media about the post office. But the post office, they deliver billions of pieces of mail a year. Billions of pieces of mail. And, we only concerned, we ain't concerned about that. I'm just concerned about my mail. That's basically where we go with it. I'm just concerned about my mail. And then sometimes, just like when the sister was speaking, she got, things a little mixed up when she was talking about money orders. Postal money orders, that money orders that come from, I don't even know some of these places, but they have a certain amount of time that you can actually cash their money orders. Western Union is one. You got a certain amount of time that you can cash a Western Union money order. And then some of these other ones that have money orders, they give it to you at a cheap price. They'll give it to you at a cheap price, but you better cash that money order in a certain amount of time, or you're not going to be able to cash it. But if you get a postal money order, it's good forever and ever. People, do their savings. People, I've seen it. People come in and get a $500 money order and then put it away. Every month they come and they get a $500 money order and just, put it away. $500 money order and put it away. And if you have the top part and somebody steals your money order, you got to have the top part, and the postal money order hasn't been cashed, you can fill out that top part of the money order and put in a claim that, you need your money order. And if the post office sees that the money order hasn't been cashed, they will reissue you another money order. They will reissue you another money order because, they can check to see if the money order has been cashed or whether it's not been cashed. I'm only talking about postal money orders. I'm not talking about Western Union or some of these other money orders that people go and get. Money orders from Walmart and all those places. They give you these $99 money order, 99-cent fee or 59-cent fee if you buy my money order. All you have to pay is 59 cents, for the money order. But their money order is only good for a certain amount of time. I think you have to pay something like $1.25, $1.75 for a postal money order. And you pay that $1.75, but the money order is good forever. It's just good like that. And if somebody steals and you have the top part and, nobody cashes it, you got, because on one side you have your name and on the other side you have the name of the person that it's supposed to go to. Those are the only two people that's supposed to be able to cash that money order. There's no third person that's supposed to be able to cash it. And if you take it to a post office is going to ask you for the ID and make sure that the ID matches the name of the person that's on the money order for them to cash it. Banks. I didn't mean to get into this whole thing about money orders, but I'm just saying this here. The whole point is that the post office is a traditional organization that people trust. Right now, and this here is from February 3rd, 2023. The House Judiciary Committee, the Congress, subpoenas Attorney General, FBI Chief, and Educational Secretary. Committee Chairman Jim Jordan requests documents on the Biden administration's targeting of parents for exercising their First Amendment rights at school board meetings. So they have lambasted the FBI because the school board, I'm sure you heard about this, because the school board in a certain district, called the Department of Education and complained that there were people that were actually coming to their school board meetings and threatening to do physical harm. These are parents who may have disagreements as far as what the school board was doing. And it's okay to have a disagreement and to argue with the local school board about what's going on in their meetings, but then when you start to threaten somebody's life, now it's time to listen, then you've gone overboard. And so the Department of Education sent information to the FBI, and the FBI then went to the person, goes to the person and says, look, we need to or the school board and says, we're not going to tolerate that, give us the name and we'll go and address this as an issue. And so they're saying that this committee, House Judiciary Subpoenas Attorney General, is questioning the FBI and the Education Secretary regarding that. Saying that parents are exercising their First Amendment rights. I'm telling you, this thing as far as First Amendment rights is going north. It really is, and I'm telling you, it's going north because here it is. You can have a camera now. This is it, and we're talking about the upload life. You can have a camera, and you can stand outside. You can go as a matter of fact, you can go in a post office, inside the post office, and videotape. And then when you get questioned by the post and asked, why are you videotaping inside the post office? Well, I got a First Amendment right to do that. This is news. I'm going to upload this. I'm exercising my First Amendment right. This is where the First Amendment social media has gone. Everybody's a newscaster now. I got a right, to freedom of speech, to do this here. 914-434, Assalamu alaikum. Your microphone is open. Who's calling? Where you calling from?
Wa alaikum assalam. Brother William, this is Muhammad Sharif calling out there in New York.
Wa alaikum assalam. Good to hear from you, brother. What's going on?
Oh, this is an interesting conversation this morning in reference to the post office.
Yes, sir.
Is this being recorded? It's on archives?
Yes.
Okay, now where do we go for archives? EM360?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Muhammad Sharif, you've gone to the archives before, right?
Oh, yes, I've gone there before. EM360.org,
so
yes.
Yeah, it's going to be under Living the Upload Life.
Just I paused this recording for a moment just to let you know that this is a pre-recorded episode, and you can go to American Muslim 360. You can go to YouTube in order to hear this presentation in 2025.
It's going to be where?
Living the Upload Life.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
yes, this is something. Yes. I suggest everyone going back and hear this who haven't heard this broadcast this morning that y'all don't know about the post office, because we want to know why our papers come in so late and all this. You're telling us about subscriptions and post office and third class and first class. I mean, this will give a good understanding of why our papers are coming late, But I think this is something we should bring up, because it's not good, because you pay money as a subscriber. And that shouldn't be no third class. That should be first class. First class, you're paying as a subscriber.
Yeah, but what Muhammad, what happens is the Muslim Journal has decided not to pay first-class rates in order to get the paper to their customers. They have decided that they want to pay third-class rate in order to get the paper to the customer, which is the cheapest rate. And it's not only Muslim Journal, it's a whole lot of newspapers that come to the post office that don't want to pay first class or second class prices. So they pay, the cheapest in order to get the paper to the customer. So they pay third class rate. They call it book rate. Book rate is like the cheap. Like if you mail in books, and especially books, because books are heavy. So the post office gives a discount for books being mailed because they're heavy, but they need to get it to the customer, so they have a book rate, and they have a paper rate, which is third class mail.
Well, now I can understand why people are concerned and don't subscribe to. I'm concerned they should not subscribe to the paper, but this is. I think that should be some discussion. The post office should do something about this, or we should complain about this, because otherwise you see now why people don't want to subscribe. Why should I subscribe? You put me in third class.
Muhammad, the thing is that the Muslim Journal could send their papers first class mail, but they would have to probably go up on the price of the Muslim Journal in order to get it to the customer quicker. They would have to go up on the price. And what the Muslim Journal is doing is basically, they're trying to get the paper to the customer, but at the cheapest price. So the complaint is not with the post office. The complaint is with the Muslim Journals, in the way that they want to mail it. People who mail things like Vogue magazine, Harper's magazine, they don't go third class. They go second class. They go second class mail. Which is, just under, because, that's not book rate, that's second class mail. So, first class mail goes out quick, and then the thing is that second class mail goes out after that. But they pay extra money for a second class mailing situation. They pay extra money for that. I'm talking about Vogue or Harper's or Bazaar, these fashion, these high class magazines. They pay the extra money in order to get their product to the customer quicker.
There should be some type of discussion concerning the Muslim Journal and that decision, those that are making that decision, because a lot of programs are over by the time you get the paper. You get the paper and the program is already over. You may want to attend that program,
Yes. Yes, good point. The thing is that thank
you for taking my call, Brother Williams. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. Anytime, Brother Muhammad. Anytime, man. Call in, okay?
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, alaikum assalam.
Okay, that's Muhammad Sharif. That's my brother Muhammad Sharif. I know him personally. We have soldiered together, man, and I know that he has made an extreme contributions, man, as far as our community is concerned. He's really been, a soldier. I've been doing this for 50 years, and as long as I've been in, I've known Muhammad Sharif, and he's been doing it, for years, and Allah has blessed him, to continue to participate. So may Allah continue to bless our brother Muhammad Sharif. What I'm doing is I'm looking at
All praise
I'm looking
to
at
Allah.
the eight. I didn't know your microphone was over, bro. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I'm looking at the AARP magazine, and I'm looking to see. Now look, this is the AARP magazine, and the magazine is $4.50. But they don't pay. This is not a third class magazine. This is second class. They send this out to second class mail. They send this out second class mail. So that's why you get this in a more timely fashion than you would get, like your newspapers, because they pay extra money. They pay extra money so it can get to the customer in a more timely fashion. this is, and I'm looking at the December to January, so I should be receiving a new magazine, for February and March. Anyway, the thing is that we have to, we're talking about the traditional organization of the post office. We're talking about the traditional organization as far as the FBI. We're talking about the traditional organization of the IRS and, the whole idea about the IRS, American Bar Association wrote, no, those 87,000 new IRS agents are not about to break down your door. We have all recently heard about the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, is hiring 87,000 new agents and have seen the various reactions to this news. Now, this is on social media.
So I'm going to stop the tape right now and go live because of some of the conversation that was had regarding the Postal Service and regarding federal organizations that are under this administration. And we still continue to have problems as far as the federal organizations that we have today. They have a new postmaster general, and he's not someone who came up in the Postal Service. He is a businessman that was selected to be the postmaster of the government. And it's in, this is the situation that we're in as far as our traditional organizations are concerned under the federal government. That people who have worked in the federal government for many, many years are not having the opportunity to actually lead. You would think that if you've been in an organization with your career for over 20 years, you would know the what's and the who's, the things that work and the things that don't work. You would know that. Because you would have a lot of experience with that. However, today, our traditional organizations are being undermined by this current administration. This current administration, they are putting people in charge of the post office, the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're putting people in place that have not come up in the organization. They're putting people there that are allies of the executive branch. That's what's being done. So you have a head of the FBI who has no qualifications to be the head of the FBI. And I heard a FBI executive, as a matter of fact, was James Comey, who was the head of the FBI and was fired by Donald Trump. That was a big story that happened in the first Trump administration. And he was interviewed recently. And in the interview, James Comey was asked, so, well, what do you think about, the way that the current administration, the FBI director, what do you think about him being the head of the organization? And what do you think about that? And James Comey said, well, the head of the FBI spends more time playing golf, going to shows, and not taking meetings than he does being in the head of the director. And the people who are running the FBI, the people who have been there for 20, 30 years, who've been there, they know it, are fine with that. Let him stay on the side and do whatever the heck he wants to do, and we will run the organization. We will run the FBI. Because this guy doesn't know what he's doing. It's the same thing with the IRS And these other organizations, Department of Education, and many of these organizations, there are people that are put there, that are put in front of it, that have no clue about what's happening with our traditional organizations, but they are just figureheads. And mainstream media pushes the idea about these organizations that are being run by figureheads because it's news, it's gossip, it's a story. It says that yesterday, I know that, or this, I don't want to say yesterday, I'll say last week, they had the head of the Department of Education in front of Congress and the Senate, and she was asked a lot of questions. I think her name is McMahon. McMahon. She is the wife of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation's husband. She is the wife, and she was appointed as the head of the Department of Education. No experience, and I won't say no experience, but she has very little experience as far as running the Department of Organization. Yeah, she's run some other organization, some little charity organization or some other kind of organization, but she was made the head of the Department of Education, where she has no experience. But she's the head. So she was called in front of Congress, and she couldn't really answer the questions. I mean, she gave some fluff answers, but they weren't in-depth answers to the questions that were being raised by the members of Congress. And people in the Department of Education are fine with that. Okay, you're just a figurehead. That's all you are. You're a figurehead. But you really don't run the organization. You can't really come in and make changes that are going to help because you don't know about the organization. You don't know about the Department of Education. All right. And you hear that the mainstream media is pushing the idea that the Department of Education is being dismantled. You hear about the president of the United States is cutting the funding for Harvard University. He's doing that. This is what the news is putting out, and they're putting it out because it is gossip. It is gossip. It's something to talk about. It's something to put fear in the people. But all monies that are distributed by the United States government don't happen in the executive branch of Donald Trump. It happens in Congress and the Senate. That's where it happens. It does not happen in the executive branch. Now, what he can do is he can put out an executive order, which makes it a legitimate piece of paper from the executive branch to stop the funding. And then whoever he's putting this executive order out against, then they are forced to go to court to address it as an issue because it winds up being a legitimate executive document. And most of the time it gets squashed. It gets squashed because the president doesn't have the power to do it, but because he put it out as an executive order, then people are forced to go to court and address it as a situation. So he has recently put out, we're going to stop funding of Harvard University. Like I said, it's a legitimate piece of paper, but he can't really do it. But the mainstream media will push it out because it's gossip. It's going to get people to read. It's going to get clicks on social media. That's what it's going to do. Many times you hear Donald Trump say things that are ridiculous, but what it does is it gets a response on social media. And that's what he wants. He wants to be ever present in social media, ever present. So he says ridiculous things so that people will read his ridiculous things. They will go and they will divert their attention from the important things in their life to take a look at his ridiculousness. And this is not only something that Donald Trump does, but basically it's the way that mainstream media is operating, period. What they do is they come up with what they do is they come up with these titles. And when they come up with titles, they come up with these titles that will attract your attention. And when the attention gets attracted, then uh, they can they can get a click. And that's the most important thing about social media. You want people's attention, even if it's for, if you just click it and just stay on there for 3 seconds, hey, that winds up being a click. You've so here it is. There are people that work for the New York Times. Just giving you an example. There are people that work for the New York Times, and you know that the New York Times is a newspaper. In order for you to get that newspaper, they don't send that paper third class mail. They send that paper, I think it's second class they send it. Okay, because people get their New York Times paper every day. But it costs $3.50. It costs $3.50 for a New York Times newspaper every day. If you wanted to get a subscription to the New York Times, it's $49. It's $49. It's $49 a month to get a subscription to the New York Times. And that is the online subscription of $49. Then you can read the New York Times online every month for $49. So just to give you examples of creative headlines in order for people, in order for people to click. Here's one. Trump jumps at the chance for a confrontation in California over immigration. 3 days of clashes leave Los Angeles on edge. You know that Trump has sent the National Guard. That's not his responsibility. The National Guard is actually the responsibility of the state, of the governor of, but because of his agents, his ICE agents are involved, then this clash has happened with the people of California. Then Trump has taken the decision to go ahead and use some kind of war power or something like that to take over the National Guard of California and to send them out. Trump deploys National Guard in LA, travel ban goes into effect, and more. Okay? You see Trump. Trump deploys National Guard. So this keeps him in the mainstream media, keeps him in. US and China to meet at precarious moment in the trade war. Trump aides urge courts to spare tariffs as they dismiss worries in public. Trump's feud with Musk highlights his view of government power. It's personal. How Trump has leverage over Musk. Trump administration's travel ban goes into effect. Abrego Garcia's lawyers push for contempt proceedings despite his commitment. Ukraine says Russia launched biggest air assault in the war. So the point, Trump calling troops into Los Angeles is the real emergency. This is how some of Trump's strongest supporters see him now. So all of these articles, all of these have been articles that are being written in the New York Times that keep Trump in front of the people's face. That's what social media does. That's what it does. And that's what, unfortunately, that's what Trump is using. That's what he uses. And he has continued to use that to keep himself in front of the people's face. So, and by him doing that, then he can tell the people anything, which is what he did. And that's how he got elected. This is not the first time that has been done. Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus did the same thing. Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus did the same thing. It's called hype. They hype the people up. You know that thing about people who, and when you go online, especially you go to Facebook and you go to some of these other places, and what you'll do is you'll hear people. Mm, mm, mm. They 1 year master's community education, uh, Columbia's certificates at Columbia University, uh, CUNY's School of Professionals, and prepare for what's next. There's just a lot of hype that's on. Uh, there's a lot of hype that's on mainstream media. Okay, and so it's something to just be careful of, brothers and sisters. Uh, stay traditional, stay organic, say your prayer, read your book, and call on your God. If there's anybody who has a question or makes a comment, you can go ahead and answer now. I have like 2 minutes left in the program, and I'm going to give those 2 minutes to you. If not, then I'll see you at 10 o'clock. This will on a New Day for Al Islam Community Radio. And on the New Day Community Radio, you have Ibn Yaqub Islam with reviving the Quran and Sunnah. And so until tomorrow, I give you the greetings of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so very much for joining in. Until then, Assalamu alaikum.